Good morning, this is Faith at Faith&books, and I just finished reading this book, Swallows and Amazons, by Arthur Ransome. I always used to get him mixed up with Arthur Rackham, who was a illustrator who came slightly before Arthur Ransome's time. So I just finished reading. It was a very satisfying ending. I'm excited to go on to the next book in the series. My cat keeps brushing against me. Anyway, first about Arthur Ransome. He's a really interesting character, and I would like to read a biography of him. I think he left university. He didn't graduate, I don't think. And he decided to become a reporter, a correspondent, a journalist. And he was working, and he somehow was sort of on the outskirts of Oscar Wilde's circle. But this was, I think, just before Oscar Wilde fell from grace. And so he wound up deciding to write a book about the whole scandal. And so he did, and I think it was well received. But Lord Alfred Douglas, who was Oscar Wilde's lover, who sort of brought Oscar Wilde down, he sued Arthur Ransome, and it was this really big, it was big in the news, and Ransome found it quite disturbing. He was not happy during this lawsuit. And he got married, and his wife was kind of crazy, and she was, I don't know, seemed like she really hated her husband. She would go and sit on the side of the courtroom, Douglas's side, to root for them against her own husband. She was really crazy. They wound up getting divorced. Come on, kitty. The cat keeps bothering me. Anyway, Arthur Ransome won the lawsuit, though. He had not libeled Douglas, and it actually bankrupted Douglas. So I guess Arthur Ransome wanted to sort of get out of the London scene after this whole debacle. So somehow he knew Russian, or I don't know. This is why I want to read a biography. He wound up being a correspondent in Russia. This was right during the Bolshevik Revolution, and Ransome was really sympathetic to the Bolsheviks. Somehow he got in with Lenin and Trotsky, so they befriended him. And he actually was a spy for the British. And they think, it's rumored that he was a double agent, that he actually was a spy for the Russians as well, but he denied that, and it's just rumor. But he did do crazy, exciting things like, walk for days across the countryside to deliver secret messages and stuff. But anyway, the funniest thing, I think, is that he wound up marrying Trotsky's secretary as his second wife. Apparently this marriage was much happier. But she left Trotsky and came back to England. And, instead of, living the life of a proletariat, she lived, I'm sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. It's probably the pollen again. She lived like this most bourgeoisie life, because he wound up settling in the Lake District and writing children's stories, these very popular series of children's stories about these 4 children. This is the first book in the series, and so the children are the Walkers. There's Captain John the oldest, and then Susan, who is the first mate. So they have a sailing ship. That's why everything's nautical in this book. And then there's the fourth, Titty, which is kind of an unfortunate name now. She is the able seaman. And then the youngest is Roger, who is the ship's boy. And so there are these 4 siblings, and they're on holiday, as they say, in the Lake District, I believe. And they get permission. They have a little sister, a little baby, Vicky, and their father's in the Navy, and he's at sea. Their mother is from Australia originally, and very outdoorsy, grew up camping and sailing and everything, so they're all very outdoorsy. And the last week of the holiday, they get to go camp by themselves on this island in the middle of the lake called Wildcat Island. And the whole story just takes place over that week that they're camping on Wildcat Island. It's really, really charming. When I was kind of mad at myself because I was reading it really slowly, and it's a very gently paced story. So I just kept falling asleep. I read it much slower than I thought I would. I thought I would just whiz through this in a few days, and I didn't. And also I think I'm just discombobulated by all the news and everything. So I'm sort of absorbed in keeping up with current events. But as I read, I got deeper and deeper into it. I thought I had read this. I thought I had read this out loud to my son, who coincidentally now works at a sailing marina. But I think I only read the first few chapters, and then my husband took over because my husband read them, I think, most of the series out loud to them, our middle son. Anyway, it's really, really a charming story about these kids who are pretending they're pirates, and they're camping on this island, and they have so much fun. They go swimming, they go sailing, they go fishing, and they meet these other kids. One neat thing about it is this came out in 1930, and there's actually more girl adventurers than there are boy adventurers. There's John and Roger, who's the littlest, Roger, and then they meet the Blackett sisters, Nancy and Peggy, and they are also pirates, and they're also sailors, and they're good sailors, and they wind up playing with them. So they're warring pirates, and then they form an alliance, and there's lots of other things going on because they're interacting with the natives, which means the people who live around the lake, and so a lot of stuff goes on with the Blackett's uncle and various other things. So it's got adventure, it's exciting, and what I think would be really good to read this out loud to children is how resilient and brave the children are. They're very capable. They know how to sail. They know how to take care of their boat. They know how to fish and then clean the fish. They know how to build a campfire and cook over the open fire. They're just so resilient and so adult, really. And at the same time, they're playing pretend. They're pretending they're pirates. So it was a good book, and I'm excited to read the next one now. Because when I first started, I was like, oh my gosh, am I really going to be able to read the whole series? But now I'm excited. I mean, it really ended quite satisfactorily. I really, really enjoyed it. Very charming. I recommend it. And I guess that's it. So I will talk to you later. Bye.